So this started about a whole year ago. I had the displeasure of meeting what I believe to be the angriest person you could ever find on Steam. I had bought for the Steam Summer Sale, 2020 Steam Summer Sale, I had bought Cube World, which is a game that officially released in 2019, but the beta goes back to like 2013. And one of the main points about the game was that the beta, everyone agrees, was better just because it was like infinite replayability. Like people just kept scaling. You could get to like 1,000,000 damage per second or whatever. You could just keep going infinitely. But the actual release version, the Steam like 2019, 2020 version, and actually it has been updated in modern day, is that the weapons are limited. Like you can only use them in the one area. So you level up in this area, and then you beat like this biome area, and you go to the next one. You can't use any of the weapons you just got. You have to start from scratch. It's not like the enemies scale like number wise the farther out you go, like the beta. And a lot of people hated that. I mean, I don't like that because it's just like you're starting a new save on the game. So it's not like it's replayability. It's like a roguelike, except like in every bad way. Like there's not really any sense of progression or anything. So I mean, I still got the game because I wanted to play it. I remember watching some YouTubers play it back when I was like 7th, 8th grade. It always looked interesting. So I got it. I think it was at least like 60% off maybe. I hope that's what it was because I don't want to pay like the full like $20 for a video game anymore. And I knew about this problem. So what I did was I got a mod that basically stopped that from happening, where you could just use any item anywhere. And, you know, it was like a couple megabytes of a mod. And the mod developer, I can't find the original mod, I don't know. The mod developer said that it was like just one code switch. Like that's all he did. That's all he changed. So it was a very easy fix. And I don't really know why the original developer just didn't do that. So it was very basic, very simple. So I play the game. It says I have a whopping 5 hours on the game. The last time I played it was, over a year ago. And so the mod didn't even really help me because I never really went to any of the different biomes or whatever. I think I just stayed in like the basic plains biome or whatever. And, it was kind of fun, but I felt like it could have been a little bit better. 5 hours, that was not enough to beat it. The game, it was fun, but combat just felt kind of lame. So I guess I wasn't really honest with this review. With a mod that lets you use weapons anywhere, this game can be really fun. I guess I should say this game can be entertaining at times, because if it was really fun, you would see me have maybe 50 hours of gameplay. So let's go to this review. You can see that I only had 3.5 hours. I did stick around for an hour and a half or so, and I only have a couple reviews for games. Yeah, it says 13, and only one of them was negative, and it was this like Sniper 2 game that I just could not get to work. And I think this is the average Steam person has around like maybe 10. All these games, like I felt like I had to. I'm normal. I'm the default person. So I scroll down to my comments. I go back a bunch. And this is where it ends. Let me go back to where it starts. This is the first interaction I've had with this man. Is right here. July 25th, 2020. And he comments. Now, I'm pretty sure there's a comment section in the review tab. I don't know why he didn't do it there. He says, "Bro, regarding your Cube World review, mods are not an excuse for developers, I'm assuming shit game. Don't recommend a game on the basis that other people, not the developer, can fix it. Childlike review, although judging by the anime and CSGO skins, I'd say I'm not far off." To which I replied, Kai FX, retarded name by the way, "Whose dick got up your ass?" Hey, not sure what I said there. The mod developer said the mod took him a few minutes, meaning it was a small fix to the game. Plus, you chose not to think anything about my review. Instead, you had the audacity to comment on my profile and make it so I couldn't comment on yours. Looking at your review for Cube World, it seems I said something personal to you. Good. Stay mad. Getting mad at someone for having a $15 worth of CSGO skins and a CSGO border is pretty childish in my opinion. But hey, you don't care about my opinion. That's why you're here. A pretty good response. I'm proud of that. To which he replied, "Wah, anime kid. I read the first sentence, then I stopped." Which, that seems like him. Grow up, anime lover. If anyone has a dick up their ass, it's you, Lamau, even part of a hentai group. I bet you were bullied in school. Enjoy the stinging reality of your sad life. Unsubbed. Also, L2 review. I don't know what that means. To which I replied, "For someone that writes really long reviews for the internet, you seem to have a very short attention span. You really should get that checked out. Who knows, maybe I made a spelling mistake and you could have pointed it out, since that would be the only thing wrong with it. Bye-bye. Angry person on the internet. I don't know what L2 review is. Could you elaborate?" But you see, he hasn't responded, and that was over a year ago. So many people would think that's where the the story ends. However, even just hovering over his name, you can see the 17 years of service on Steam. Now, 17 years, that's more years than I've had access to the internet. That's more years than I could talk, honestly. Alright, so now we're on his profile, his Steam profile picture. If you don't recognize this man, this is Jason Lee, the actor that plays Dave in the Alvin and Chipmunks movie. And I'm pretty sure this profile picture is just a desaturated picture of the NBC show, My Name is Earl. I'm not exactly sure why, the word T is in red on the bottom. That has nothing to do with his name, I don't think. But, you can see no other known names. And his name is Lee, which I'm assuming he's role-playing as Jason Lee. And you can see the funniest thing is that he's from London, so he's British. Already a little bit of, irony. And you can see straight away, this is right in character with him. If you like anime, you're sad. If you have an animated, big-boobed anime profile background, then you're the biggest simp going. Okay, I like big boobs. But, he has 7, this could, even with just seeing that, I think this could be a really good, amazing troll. But, you see, he does have the 17 years, so that's a lot of a commitment for having a Steam account in 2003. That's, literally the year Steam was launched. Now, you can see he has 60 badges. It says he has 421 games owned. I own 100, and a lot of those I just bought on sale. I'm assuming that's what he did too, or else, he has a lot of time, which you'll see. It could very well be the case. So he has some Praise the Sun things. You can tell he's a Dark Souls fan, which, in character with him. And this is what I was talking about, is that you can't see or you can't comment on his profile. Most of these, this is already from 3 years ago. And going back to his earliest comments, this is from 2014. And I'm assuming this is not his soonest one, or his earliest one, because it seems like he was replying to somebody else, but the comment has since been deleted. So it goes, "Indeed, it is a shame. I've not hated Valve for the last 3 to 4 years for no reason, but simply because they continue to milk the consumer in any way possible. The friendly Valve and wholly gave them over. That was simply baiting everyone and being nice to ensure Steam was the dominant platform before eventually turning into the next Activision or EA. True shame. Sadly, all businesses end up going the same way in the end, but I couldn't be half surprised if I got banned from Steam for free speech. They pull the strings, of course. Do me a favor. If I get banned for talking about Valve's greed, avenge me. Lol." Now, it's talking to this guy, that evil guy, XD. You can't see he has previous names, but he's not. Oh, wait a second. That might be for irony. I'm not sure. But I'm not going to say that he ties in this story, since that was from 7 years ago. And, he hasn't been banned. You can see his featured games are the Halo the Master Chief Collection, and just 3 Witcher 3 games. He also owns more DLC than games owned, but I'm not gonna say that's out of ordinary. But let's just check his groups real quick. Here it is. No microtransactions. I can only assume what that is meant for. But let's read his reviews. 75 reviews. And this is where it gets really funny. This is where the angriest person part comes in. You'll be seeing this a lot. This not recommended. RuneScape old school. I've never played the game. I've heard of RuneScape. I just know that it's a farming game type of thing where you just grind out stats. Yes. Apparently Jagex doesn't want players to return to RuneScape if they use a VPN. So he's using a VPN. Fits right into character, type of person that wears glasses, pimply face, slightly overweight maybe, double monitor all his life, PC, Master Race, subreddit is always up on his computer, and he probably has the wrist brace, and cares about his internet safety. Dude, you're going to use Snapchat, Instagram, Facebook, and Google all your life. They're always going to get your information. Why do you have to use a VPN? So, my problem is exactly, I must use a VPN for reasons I will not share. His massive porn addiction. And this man actually seems like he read the terms and agreements. He even states it, that this is not a game review, but yet it is a review, and he did not recommend it. 11 hours on Bejeweled 3. Sure, you can like it. I probably would like it if it was on a phone. Not recommended. Played 17 hours on it, and he goes into this huge detail about which computers he owns and which pieces he has, and I'm not going to go super into depth, but it seems like he always has problems with video games. Murder Miners, not recommended. It's like the most budget version of Halo Combat Evolved, but with even less content. It clearly involved the most minimal amount of effort to create. Its NAF and only servers as a novelty for 5 minutes. Left 4 Dead 2, not recommended. How can you hate this game, man? Left 4 Dead 2 is one of the highest rated games of all time. This man is the one in the 1% that did not recommend this game. And this part is characteristic. Only a matter of time before microtransactions come into this last stand. Never breaks character. Always has to mention microtransactions, especially when it comes to a Valve game. Did you know Valve used TF2 for market research and were one of the first developers/publishers to popularize excessive microtransactions and gambling in games? Yep, God bless the morbidly obese Gaben. This game is decent, but it's no Killing Floor 1. Now notice how he did not review the game. He just complained about another game that the developer made, but not even complain about the game, just about how they made the game and how they used the game. All he said was 4 words, and he just called it decent. Like, that wasn't really just a review. It was more of him rambling about how he hates microtransactions. Trying to recommended Oblivion. He does recommend this game. Now, this one, I'm going to cover it a lot. This game is infinitely better than Skyrim, which quite frankly is an overhyped, stripped-down role-playing game. Since Oblivion was first released on multiple platforms, notice how he says multiple platforms, I have probably put a few thousand hours into Oblivion. I still believe him, probably. This game has a class system or custom classes, so you have a real sense of actual role-playing. Alchemy is better. It has weapon and armor efficiency and repairs, better spell crafting, better loot, better randomization, better dialogue, better and more creative quests, better voice actors, and because it is Krydal, it isn't popular by 99% Nords. The menus are far better too, and you can actually see your character every time you go into the menu, which is dope because you don't have to rely on third-person view to see how you look. Unlike Skyrim, where they strip the menus into a streamlined, minimalist, Google-esque, console-friendly menu with no regard for PC players at all, and it sucked balls. Also, it was buggy AF. Again, that last part was about Skyrim, not about Oblivion. This game may look old, but it's an RPG experience which still outshines Skyrim in every other way. Casuals will disagree. If you're not seeing a pattern here, he always has to feel like he's better than everybody else, that he's better than the average person. So that's what he does, is he mentions how Skyrim, which everyone knows Skyrim, is actually bad because it's not meant for PC players. Ori and the Blind Forest, worse than the original. The soundtrack is buried away somewhere. I've only managed to play it via the dreadful Steam music player. Crash Bandicoot recommends it. Okay. We still have 8 more pages to go through. This one is probably the more personal one. Cube World. This is the one that started it all. You can see he reviewed it about exactly like 6 months before I did. He actually edited it. Oh, that might have been why he saw it, because he edited it like the same day I posted mine. So you can see he played 21 hours of it and played about 6 more hours since then. A downgrade from the alpha version with severe limitations the moment you cross the border. This removal of essential items once crossing the border is a shallow way of giving you something to do. Despite you having already collected these, you're then expected to get them all over again, multiple times whenever you discover a new land. It's boring. This wouldn't be so bad if this was on a larger region scale, but it's not. It's done for every tiny piece of land. What insane choice was this? Why is there no option to turn it off? Surely... There isn't an option to turn it off, dude. Get the mod that I got. Surely this guy had the mental capacity to realize that not everybody was going to like this. In all these years, the game has not improved at all. It's a real shame. Wally is a tormentor who is afraid of the internet. He hides a lot and torments people by first taking years to make a game people have been desperate to play for many years, makes it worse, and then hides again, deleting his social media contact options in the process. Psychological blank and ultimate troll. I genuinely cannot recommend this. Go get a copy of the alpha version if you are desperate to play it. Don't play this version. You can see he's pretty upset with the creator and the game, and I just find that really, really, really funny. Not recommended. Played it for 2 hours. Euro Truck, great game. Halo, the Master Chief Collection, recommended. You see, not recommended. Planet, not recommended. Metro 2033 Redux, not recommended. Flight Simulator, not recommended. This man just doesn't like video games. Crisis, not recommended. Only played it for half an hour at a time. Rise, Son of Rome, not recommended. Dark Souls 2, not recommended. Now, if you remember in Dark Souls 3, I'm pretty sure he said this is not as good as Dark Souls 2, but recommended Dark Souls 3. I'm not really sure. I'm just going to glance over this real quick, but you can see he goes into depth. Ori, the original one, recommends it. Alright. Besiege, not recommended. Fallout New Vegas, not recommended. Complain about mouse and keyboard PC support for menus, but sadly it is totally dependent on mods to fix. Banished 2, recommended. Okay. Steam World Dig 2, recommended. Black Massive, recommended. Let's keep going. Rocket League, not recommended. Oh, you can see. Added keys and crates. Wasn't any need for it. There was already download content available, but Psionic got greedy. I can't recommend any game that does this just to fill their back pocket. Well, I mean, if the game goes free to play, I mean, it needs to have a source of income. I'm not going to get too in-depth with that. If it's completely cosmetic, I mean, it doesn't hurt the person that doesn't buy it. And here you go. You can see it's Same thing. He just copy and pastes it, basically. Grand Theft Auto. Good game for single player. Microtransactions, albeit optional for multiplayer. That it is optional. It's optional up here too. But in here you can buy this like straight up money. Always downvote microtransactions. Now you can see 100 hours for Trove. Not recommended. That I think that's honestly the funniest is whenever you get a not recommended that's actually like serious when they've already played 100 hours. I just think that's funny. And speaking of the devil, Skyrim Special Edition. You can see he reviewed it only 17 hours in, but yet he played a whole nother 100 hours after this. This goes back to the Oblivion one. Overhyped. The original was dull compared to his predecessors. By no means a bad game, but it took away more than it added. Sadly, Bethesda realized they can't cheat the PC community by charging for the game again after the PC modding community more or less fixed the game on their behalf, giving us the Special Edition for free. They have gone backwards with Elder Scrolls series, not forward. The lack of class system also makes the game feel less like an RPG and more like a game where you have to entertain yourself. The do-all be-all system for lazy people who can't stick to the confines of what they wish to play as originally. If the next Elder Scrolls game isn't an innovation on a drastically improved engine with more weapons depth and creativity, then it'll just be another cash grab like the recent addition to the Fallout series. Wow. Killing Floor 2 does not recommend, but yeah, it just keeps going. Steam controller, not recommended. Homie was reviewing a hardware device. Shadow of Mordor, not recommended. Sleeping Dogs, recommended. Nothing wrong with that. You can like a game. Carmageddon Reincarnation, 0.3 hours on record, not recommended. The dude took more time to write the negative review than he did to actually play the game. Spelunky, like one of the only indie games to ever score like a 10, not recommended. PlantSide, 100 hours gameplay, not recommended. Star Force, less than an hour played, not recommended. Not recommended. Not recommended. Payday 2, 400 hours, not recommended. Towns, not recommended. Arma 3, not recommended. DayZ, not recommended. Okay. Can't really hit him on that. Gary's Mod, the game that everyone's childhood was filled with, not recommended. Half hour played. This dude just must not like video games. Team Fortress 2, one of the all-time best standing games. 100 hours played, not recommended. He's played more Team Fortress 2 than I have. Since it's a Valve one, I'll go in depth with it. I knew this would happen years ago. Valve would ultimately turn into a greedy, lazy, typical developer. Except now they're not really developers anymore, with their own interests at heart, and would ultimately destroy anything that they would get an extra few quid. Again, he's British. Judging by what Valve have done to nearly all their IP and a single-handedly popularized in-game gambling outside the MMO scene before other developers, they have butchered all that was good. Evil people. Starbound, does not recommend. Still played 75 hours of it. Skyrim, non-special edition. And here we go. This is the kind of the funny one. And again, the funny thing is most of these say no one has rated this review helpful yet. This game was great prior to ARM's deal, but Valve has ruined it with their greed. It's a toxic playground of easily controlled sprays, skin plebs, kiddies, gamblers, Eastern Europeans, and ragers. He says Eastern Europeans like it's a discriminatory. CS 1.6 still reigns supreme in the world of Counter-Strike. Even CSS is better. But this, nah. Spray, aim down, win. Far too simple. I'm not the best by any means, but this iteration is far too accessible and dumbed down. Valve popularized gambling within TF2 and CSGO before many of the major developers did on PC outside of the MMORPG scene. But Holy Gaming gets praise for Steam sales, so folks turn a blind eye to the gambling mess they have created on their list of IPs. I really hate that greedy sod. He's just so mad about gambling, but yet wastes his life playing video games. At least he calls Half-Life a good game. I thought that would have been funny. Terraria. And that was his first review. It was back over 9 years ago, and it was Terraria, not recommended. So this man just hates video games, basically. The thing I think is the funniest is a Minecraft video. Alright. I think that was really funny. I hope to God this has his voice, because that would be perfect. Let's look at his screenshots real quick. You can see his most recent one is Crash Bandicoot on his way to Pound Town. And, this is a man that has had Steam for 17 years, and most likely is 30 plus years old. Yeah, you can see he's played Cube World. Probably not enjoyed his time. Weed joke, man. This is honestly what made me want to make the video. If the next Elder Scrolls game doesn't have a PC UI like Sky UI, then Todd Coward should be burned on a pyre. A couple problems with that. If you remember back, he hates anything that has to do anything with consoles that also is on PC. He thinks it should only be on PC. He's using mods. That's how this whole thing started, was that he commented on me telling me not to use mods in my review, which I think is just irony. Any chance he can take. LOL. A great example of how bad the lighting in Bethesda games is. How bad the lighting in Bethesda games are. I think that would be more correct. A home for my butterfly, later found on the floor because of this game has a shitty physics engine. Taking any chance he can to roast a video game. My friend. I like to imagine he typed that and also said it as if he were a band kid trying to be Russian. My friend. My friend. Yep. Microtransactions, making fun of that. Basically just screenshotting every time he turns the corner, it looks like. I feel like he thinks he's a blogger or something. I don't even know if anyone has seen these. I could be, like, revealing this. Man, dude, get a life. Oh wait. The first positive comment I have ever seen. Oh, never mind. It was ironic. Lovely attention to detail. Never mind. Oh. Nice attention to detail, dumbass. You forgot the eye. Just so you know, WD-40 isn't a lubricant. Joke fail. How he know that, though? I doubt this kid actually works with piping or wood or anything. I would assume he just sits at his computer, just straight up insulting the company. This kid is just not like having fun. Irony. This is the biggest annoyance in the whole of Skyrim. A tree. Okay. Why does this man care so much about hating on video games? All of these are literally just labeled. Okay, I think I hit the bottom. I think that's actually just all of the screenshots. Also, along with the games, you can see that inventory is private. Looking through, I mean, you can see that he has a ton of games. 17 years, legit. For hating microtransaction things, you have to buy these things. Like, you cannot just get a level 3 thing. So this man literally, buys this stuff. I think this might just be the angriest man on all of Steam.